everything without offending. So now my mouth is in the jailhouse with cases pending. First Amendment, you replaced it, rigged it, dumbed it down. It's not an option. Some of it I understand. Took power from me.
SMT Nation, we back, and today we're talking T-Mobile. We've got details on their most recent deal, agreement with Extenet, as they have this exclusive venue deal with T-Mobile now to provide indoor and outdoor DAS systems at MGM associated venues. All right, now the reason I wanted to do this second video kind of like secondarily is to kind of go a little bit more technical and look at some of the details as to what we can expect for these DAS systems, how it's going to make the T-Mobile network better for customer experiences. Now, this goes back originally to when T-Mobile canceled all the small cell network builds that were going to be happening through Sprint. So Sprint had a deal, I think, for almost 6,000 small cells with Crown Castle. T-Mobile ended up breaking that contract and paying, I think, like over $300 million in a breakup fee. And that was a cost savings measure. All right, T-Mobile wanted to get their ducks in a row. They wanted to focus on upgrading all their macro sites. They wanted to focus on integrating all those Sprint Keep sites and kind of seeing where they stood after that all shook out. We're basically there, right? T-Mobile has stabilized its network with respect to the macro network. It's time to start looking at small cells, which they said they didn't want to do. They said it was difficult, challenging, permitting, cost, effectiveness, all those things considered. But it's at a point, folks, where they just have to do it. And now they've got the deal in place to make it happen. Okay, so in terms of the breadth and the stretch and the reach of this agreement, MBM Resorts property nationwide has, I think, a network of 25 MGM properties. And what Extenet is going to do is they're going to build LTE and 5G wireless and fiber neutral host communications infrastructure components. And what this is going to do is basically give this exclusivity to T-Mobile to be able to provide high capacity networking solutions in these locations. I said in the previous video, one of T-Mobile's greatest weaknesses was that they were a macro focused network, which means your macro site might be far from these indoor venues that have thousands of people inside. So not only are you probably limited to just low band coverage because the macro is so far, and the only thing that'll reach into the building might be low band, right? So you got poor tower density. You're gonna have to get signal indoors, and Wi-Fi solutions just simply won't cut it. You're going to need private networks. You're going to need indoor and outdoor DAS systems. You're going to need C-RAN, small cells, and yes, the hated mmWave. Crucial part of networking, all these things. So now T-Mobile has that in place. So how are they going to do this? What type of spectrum? What type of assets? What type of hardware? It's going to be a mix of LTE and 5G. LTE is not dead, folks. People have LTE phones. LTE is still the anchor technology for even 5G in the NSA form. So these things are still going to be ongoing. So we got LTE, and connected IoT devices are still LTE as well. The 5G piece, that's going to be a big player as well, right? So you have licensed mmWave, which T-Mobile has. They have a lot of mmWave spectrum. There's unlicensed mmWave, right? So we'll be talking about N93 and all those other things at a later time. You're going to have cbrs spectrum, which T-Mobile has some licensed. They can also use unlicensed spectrum in this case. And then with the opportunity to maybe do some neutral host system provisions, you can basically put your spectrum to work on other types of radio gear, right? So you don't have to own the infrastructure. You just have to provide the licenses and you can make it happen. And of course, that's going to be up to the site, right? The location, the venue operator, the venue owner, what they're able to do and how they want to do it. We're expecting indoor DAS systems. We're expecting outdoor DAS systems, so IDAS, ODAS. We're expecting DRAN. We're expecting CRAN, CBRS, private LTE, private 5G, enhancements and improvements and upgrades to Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi 7 is becoming a thing, right? The framework and the architecture of these networks, there's a lot of potential. There's a lot of things there. But the one thing I will tell you guys when it comes to T-Mobile, they have spectrum. T-Mobile has options. T-Mobile has LTE spectrum. right? They've got a ton of 5G spectrum. They have CBRS, they have millimeter wave. All those things come into play in these examples. Now, the branding here with this Extenet deal, that one's exclusive to T-Mobile, but it doesn't mean that Verizon and AT&T won't get involved. In fact, they most likely will. In fact, they probably already have. Right? These are places where Verizon already has DAS. These are places where Verizon has millimeter wave nodes outside and inside. These types of deals are more meaningful to T-Mobile customers. These types of deals are more meaningful to the T-Mobile network because T-Mobile wasn't doing this previously. Meanwhile, AT&T and Verizon have been doing this more often, and more so Verizon, but AT&T's been doing it too. There's lots of AT&T C-RAN and millimeter wave in downtown Cleveland, near the casino, around apartments and multi-dwelling units and all types of condos and clubs and bars and living spaces and lofts, warehouses. We see these things all over Cleveland. So it's just a matter of time that T-Mobile got on board. We're glad that they did, even if they are late to the party. This was their business plan. This was their business model. They were going to let things shake out post-merger, finish things up there, and then address it. They don't have the CapEx that Verizon and AT&T have. They can't do what Verizon does. Verizon was doing millimeter wave and C-RAN and small cells. They've been doing that for years, right? Indoor DAS, outdoor DAS, stuff like that. AT&T's been doing this for years. T-Mobile has been a smaller company. Now they're doing it. This is what has fit into their business model and their business plan. Now they're getting to it. All right. So I know a lot of people have said, T-Mobile's ahead of everybody and all of this. In actuality, guys, when it comes to networking, T-Mobile's not necessarily ahead. They might have like the most 5G mid-band pops or something, however you want to look at that. But when it comes to stuff like this, when it comes to the size of networks, when it comes to like the network excellence and stuff like that, like the pedigree, it always has been and probably always will be Verizon, just because of stuff like this. But I'm very glad to see that T-Mobile has changed course, right? And now they've moved on to the next phase of the network, which is focusing on things like this. They just have to do it. When AT&T and Verizon keep cooking in these venues, T-Mobile struggles, and that needs to stop. And this is the type of thing that will fix that problem. Comment down below, you all the voice of the people, the SMT Nation. Let your voice be heard. Like, share, and subscribe for more, and turn on that bell notification icon to never miss an upload. Links are in the description for all things going on with the channel. Big shout out to the channel members and the Patreon supporters. Thanks for all that you do. You guys are the best. Y'all the goats. And we'll exit this video with some words of positivity for you all. Every new day is an opportunity to be great. Go out there and be great. Thanks for watching. See you all on the next one. Peace.